Hello everyone, in this session we are going to see subtraction. With the same example set, we are not going to move away, which is minus as a symbol. So let's see an example how it works. It's pretty straightforward. How do we do subtraction? Pretty similar to what we did from an addition standpoint. So let's take a couple of variables again. In my case, I'm going to use the same variable, which is var a and var b. Let's take the same variable and say var, let's say here, which is subtraction, right? And then let's take a variable a and which is equal to, let's say 15, and then I say variable b, and then I'm going to reset as, let's say 6. So, and we'll take variable result and let's say 0. So let's first print what we have the values for a, b, and result value. Let's echo subtraction right? And say echo. So echo, and you say we are going to provide value, and I'm going to say var a equal to var a, and var b equal to var b, and var result equal to hyphen var result, right? So this prints pretty much everything which is the current value. To perform subtraction, so we should be getting in this particular statement display of var as a character, and then you should see a value 15, and then you have a varb as a 6, and then before we start subtraction, right? So I'll say before, right, subtraction, this is the value, and then here I'm going to perform subtraction, which is var result equal to, I will say var a minus var b, which is, I'm going to minus 15 minus 6, which is 9. That should be the result. And then I'm going to display the same value, which is after subtraction. So you can see both the values or both the input. How does it look? At this particular point of time, I'm going to comment all the codes from addition standpoint, and we'll enable the comments later so that we don't confuse our focus on subtraction, right? So we have commented all the codes, and let's try to subtract it. So this is our actual steps which we are going to run it. So let's go back and then run our code with H, which is a headless mode, because we don't want to launch a browser. So let's run and see how value is displayed. So it started, and you see before subtraction the value of variable is 15, and then 6, the variable value which is result is 0, and then after, I did not change as after. Let's change the value as after, and then save it, and let's clear the screen and run it again. And you should see now the before and after values, which is after the subtraction happened, which is 9, right? You can display it in a much more effective way, however way you want to display. And then if we change the value, which is like and then let's say 8, and let's try to see how it behaves when you have the first variable is less than the second variable to subtract. Let's see an example. How does it show up? Let's go back and run it again and see what happens. So in this case, we started, the first value. So you can see it can also give you a result in a negative way. So if you remove 8 from 5, it is -3, so which is the right result from a -3 standpoint. So this is an example of using subtraction. It works fine with the decimal numbers. I can provide some decimal numbers and see how it subtract from a subtraction standpoint. So let's give her some decimal number and then perform some subtraction operation. And let's run it now. So in our case, the A value is 15.50 and the B value is 8.11. So we should basically get an appropriate result, which is when you subtract is 7.39 is the correct result. So you get a decimal value as well. So let's see an example. Let's see an example of what if we give a string value, let's say hello, and I say minus hell, and see what result it gives from a result standpoint. So let's see what would be the result, just to see what happens when we give a string and we try to ask minus operator to reduce it. I'll explain what the result would be when the result comes in. So if you really see that the first variable value was hello and the second variable value was hell, H-E-L, and then the result values was 0, right? And then after the subtraction, both the values are hello and the variable b's value is hell, but the result is NaN. So NaN is an error which is technically generally used in JavaScript world, value assigned when it is not a number. So TagUI pretty much uses internally JavaScript to really process them, pre-process them, and it tend to return if it cannot determine the operator, then it is NaN. NaN is a not a number value. So if you get as an error when you're trying to perform an operation, not a number, you can always throw an error saying that, hey, you gave me an input as a string, which is not a number, so I cannot perform an operation. So you can make your process much more intelligent if you really understand the use of certain parameters or certain values. Hope it is helpful. This tip is helpful. This finishes our session on subtraction. We'll see next one, multiplication.